What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Matt and welcome to the beginner series number 2 video where I'm going to show you how to buy ETFs through the Wealthsimple Trade platform. So obviously if you haven't seen the first video, beginner series part 1, please make sure to go watch that, because in that video I explain what an ETF is, the different types of ETFs, just to understand what an ETF is before you go and buy them yourself. I think it's important to understand what you're buying before you go ahead and do something like this. So after you're done that video and watch it, this is for you. And also I just want to make a disclaimer and a note before we get started. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a licensed advisor, professional, whatever. I am just some guy on the internet that just wants to help you get started investing on your own. And with these particular ETFs, I find them to be the most sensible, simple and effective way to build your own portfolio as a beginner. So obviously if you watch the first video on ETFs and you understand it, before you pick and go buy ETFs, obviously the first thing you want to do is do a risk assessment just to see what you're comfortable investing in and what's really right for you at this moment. So what you're going to do is Google Vanguard risk assessment. Once you Google it, you should come to this where it says investor questionnaire. Usually it's the first result, so you're going to click on that and you're going to come to this page. This is Vanguard's website. Now Vanguard is probably the biggest, or one of the biggest, fund managers and creators on the planet. Their founder was actually the creator of index funds. And that's a video for another day on Jack Bogle and everything like that. Now in my opinion, Vanguard has the best ETFs on the planet just because they were the ones who really brought it to market in the beginning. So I'm not gonna jump in and dive into too much, history and why I love Vanguard. But in short, they just pretty much started this in the 70s. Why you're going to this website is because you're going to do a questionnaire that determines which stock to bond ratio is right for you. Now it says here how you divide your money among stocks, bonds, and short-term reserves is an important factor in determining the long-term return and volatility of your portfolio. So you should select investments only after you determine the right asset mix. And so it kind of just goes on and on here. So after you do this questionnaire, you're gonna get a ratio. And I'm gonna do a little bit of a run through quickly. So obviously you're gonna wanna do this and be completely honest. You don't wanna, BS your way and just quickly do this. You need to sit down and really put yourself in scenarios of these questions. So, question 1, I plan to begin withdrawing money from my investments in, less than a year, more than 15 years, 6 to 10 years. Maybe you want to buy a house in 6 to 10 years with the money. You really have to figure that out for yourself. And these questions are designed to really place you in the most optimal asset mix. So then you can pick your asset allocation ETFs, which I'll show you later. I'm just gonna run through this quickly. So for myself, okay, I'll quickly do myself. So usually money I invest, I don't want to pull out for more than 15 years. And as I withdraw money, I plan to spend it over more than 15 years because I'm extremely long-term right now. You might be different, right? You might be at a different age, a different point in your life. Everyone's gonna be different. So it's important to really sit down and look at this and determine it for yourself, right? So let's say when planning to make a long-term investment, I plan to keep the money invested for more than 8 years. So I personally would pick more than 8 years because again, I'm very long-term. I'm 26 years old right now, for example. Stuff like this. Now this is an important question. From September 2008 through to November 2008, US stocks lost more than 31% of their value. If you owned an investment that went down 30% of its value, what would you do? Would you sell? Would you buy more? Would you hold on? So be honest, right? When you go through these. Now, I'm not gonna walk through all these questions. I think maybe it's better to make a separate video where I kind of go through this more. But make sure before you buy these ETFs or before you find that asset allocation ETF that matches your mix, you have to do this profile and this risk assessment. It's extremely important. So I'm just gonna quickly run through these because I've done this so many times. Okay, so once you're done your risk assessment, you go through the questions carefully and you actually are honest with yourself and everything like that, you're gonna come to the end where you get a suggested mix of stocks and bonds. So for my example, 100% stock, right? And that matches up with my risk profile, my tolerance for risk and all that stuff like that, my time horizon, which is how long I want to invest for. So it's giving me a mix of 100% stock and 0 bond. So once you figure this out, you then want to Google Vanguard Asset Allocation ETFs. You're going to be able to find the portfolio that matches that suggested mix that you just got. So you're going to want to Google that. You can click on the ad, or you can even click on, the first result. It doesn't matter. In a nutshell, these are the asset allocation ETFs that I recommend generally to brand new investors, people that want to start buying their own investments, their own ETFs. These are the ones that I recommend to people, just because you find your risk profile, what you just did, you find which of these ETFs matches up with your asset mix. So for example, me, I'm 100% stock. So naturally, I look for this one, which is 100% stock. It's the Vanguard All Equity ETF portfolio, ticker symbol VEQT. And this is the one I invest in. And I'm gonna show you how to buy it and everything like that. But if you get 80-20, you're gonna wanna go with VGRO or VGRO. If you got 60-40, you're gonna wanna go with VBAL, VBAL is the ticker symbol. And obviously, if you get these ones, you're gonna wanna go with VCNS or VCIP. Now these ones are extremely conservative. Like typically, if you're over 50 or 60 or 70 years old, maybe these are gonna work for you. But if you're a younger investor, you're beginning, typically your asset mix is gonna fall into these 3 things. You're gonna fall into either a balanced portfolio, a growth ETF portfolio, or an all equity, extremely aggressive portfolio, which is all stocks, all equity. So once you match up the asset mix that you get from your risk profile and you look at this and you determine and see which one matches up, you're then really ready to start buying. You're ready to start allocating money into your portfolio and you're ready to start building it. Now I'm just gonna quickly go into the fund I buy. And I think I'm gonna make a separate video, breaking down the holdings and everything like that. But essentially all these asset allocation ETFs are completely globally diversified, meaning you just gotta buy this one fund in your brokerage account, and then you'll have a portfolio of 12,000, 13,000 holdings across the planet. And all you gotta do is just keep buying and holding it. It's really that easy. So for example, I'm looking at the portfolio and the ETF that I buy myself. It's got 12,500 holdings. And then this is what's happening right now in the market. It doesn't look very good. But again, if you're brand new, great time to get started. And this is the breakdown of the holdings. So, the top 10 holdings of it are amazing, right? You have all the big banks, Microsoft, Apple, Enbridge, CN Railway, Amazon, Google, which is Alphabet Inc., Brookfield Asset Management, extremely great investments, and that's your top 10. So this is gonna be the highest holdings in that portfolio. So when you buy this portfolio, know that you're buying 12,500 companies. You're gonna be diversified across the entire world through just this simple ETF. So I guess to kind of break it down, we could even look by sector. And again, I think I'm gonna save this for another video because I could go on and on here, and look at all these holdings and everything. But it's important to note that if you do buy this fund that I'm in, you're gonna be in 12,500 different companies across the world. You're gonna be in banks, you're gonna be in technology, you're gonna be in energy, you're gonna be everywhere. You're gonna have lots of US holdings. You're gonna have great American companies in your portfolio. And if you're a long-term investor, this is exactly what you want. You can see Walt Disney, Samsung, Coca-Cola. What's the point of buying all these individually? And that's a topic for another video, but if you can just own all these, why not just buy and hold all of them, right? All 12,500. So what we're now going to do is I'm gonna jump on my phone now and show you how to buy this ETF through the Wealthsimple Trade app. All right, guys, what's going on? Now on to the second part where I'm gonna show you how to actually buy the ETFs on Wealthsimple Trade. So obviously, if you don't have the app yet and you haven't put any money in, you're obviously gonna have to do that. So make sure you sign up using the link in the description below. You'll actually get $5 for free by using the link. So make sure to do that before obviously you do this so you can follow along with me. So once you download the app, deposit the first amount of money that you want to invest. You're gonna wanna open the app, obviously, set up all your, whatever Face ID stuff. So this is currently my portfolio right now. This is my TFSA with Wealthsimple Trade. It's obviously been a very, crazy last few months in the market, obviously with everything that's happening in the world. So right now you can see that, there's been a giant kind of tank in the market, and, my portfolio dropped, around 20% or so, whatever. We can kind of, look at my portfolio and all that, but this is the app. So if you scroll down, this is obviously the portfolio I have, which is just VEQT, which I told you about. Is Vanguard's all equity asset allocation ETF. So as you can see, I have, roughly 1,370 shares of VEQT, and currently it's sitting at around $25 per ETF share. And you can see also available to trade, I have $219 in my account. So this is what I'm going to buy more of this portfolio ETF right now and show you guys how to do it. So once you're ready to go, obviously, don't look at my numbers and whatever. Like, think about this as your own journey. If this is the first time you're buying ETFs, this is a big step. And I want to, first of all, congratulate you on even doing this, but we'll get to that at the end. But okay, so the first things first is your screen probably won't look like this. You're going to want to find the ETF first. So you can either search it at the very top by the ticker symbol. So you're going to want to, let's say, search it. So for my example, I would do VEQT, or let's say your asset mix is 80-20, then you would do VGRO, right? VGRO, or VBAL, which is the Vanguard Balanced Portfolio. And I'm sure maybe some of you have heard of the iShares asset allocation funds. Now, those are also great. I'm not going to say those are bad and it's not a good choice. iShares are great. Look those up. They're called the iShares asset allocation funds. Those are great if you want a little bit more exposure to the US market. So generally those ETF portfolios will be a little more heavy on American stock. So if you want to own a little bit more of American stocks and all that stuff, look into iShares asset allocation funds. They actually have a little bit of a lower fee. Those are ticker symbols, pretty much just X replaces the V. So XEQT, XGRO, or XBAL. So you can search everything in the app by just the ticker symbol. Another way to find ETFs through Wealthsimple Trade is also to go to categories. So you can click categories, and these are obviously all stock categories. You're going to want to find ETFs. And once you find ETFs, these are the most popular ETFs that are traded on Wealthsimple Trade pretty much on a daily basis, I believe. So obviously VFV is the S&P 500. VGRO obviously is right there, and VGRO is the most popular one. The 80-20 asset mix is extremely popular amongst new investors, experienced investors, whatever. I think most of you are going to actually buy VGRO anyways, so you can find it there. And obviously you can look through all these. Now you're going to see a lot of different stuff in here. You're going to see different types of sector ETFs, different countries, gold ETFs, right? You're going to see a lot of stuff, but I'm telling you, if you're new, stick with the asset allocation ETFs, because you will put yourself in a much better spot in terms of your diversification across the board. So once you're ready to go, so for me, we're going to go to the beginning. I'm going to search for VEQT. So you're going to do this with your asset allocation ETF that matches your profile. After searching for the ETF, what we're going to now do is bounce over to your browser app or Safari. So before you buy the ETF, we're going to want to see the real-time price of the ETF, because unfortunately on Wealthsimple Trade, it's not in totally up-to-date real-time price. It's a bit delayed, so that's something to keep in mind. First thing we're going to do is open up Safari, and you're going to go to the website tmxmoney.com. or you could go to tmx.com, but tmxmoney.com will bring you to this website on your phone. You can do this on your phone, you can do this on a laptop. Because Wealthsimple Trade is a totally mobile platform, I'm just deciding to show you on the phone just so you can quickly bounce between Safari and the app itself. So once you do that, I'm going to search VEQT, right? And then I'm going to see it right at the top. It says Vanguard All Equity ETF Portfolio. So I'm going to click that and then hit search, and then boom, I get the real-time price of the ETF that I want to buy. It's right here. VEQT shows you the volume, which is the amount of shares traded, I believe today. It shows you the real-time price and everything. So right now it's $25.05. The next thing you're going to want to do, you're going to want to divide the amount of money that you wish to purchase the ETF by the price of the ETF currently, so this ETF. So for me right now in the account, I have $219, right? So I have $219. So we're gonna divide 219, you know, and if let's say you have 100, you have 500, you have 1,000, you have 10,000, whatever it is, you're gonna divide that amount by the real-time price we just looked at. So 25.05. And we get 8.74. So this is the amount of shares that I can afford with the amount of money I have in the account. And one important thing you're gonna wanna do is make sure that you round down, because I can't afford 9 shares. I can only afford 8. I have to round down. I don't have enough money to buy 9 shares right now just because of the price. 8 shares of VEQT at 25.05. So you can refresh it, you know, it's still the same price. So boom, we're ready to do it. What you want to do, go back to the app. Obviously, you're going to see the ETF that you want to buy. You're going to click next. This is an important step. It's going to show you market buy. You're going to want to switch to limit buy. Now, market buy is essentially, if you click market buy, it'll fill you at the highest price possible. It'll fill your order. And typically what might happen and what usually happens is you'll actually overpay for each share. So you don't want to do market buy. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's also like you might as well not overpay for your shares, especially if you're making a bigger order. But in general, you're going to want to do this. So you're going to want to find the real-time price. You're going to want to go to limit buy, which means that you're choosing the price that you're willing to pay for each share. So, you know, let's do another refresh, why not? 25.05. So 25.05. Now when you go to place your limit buy, you want to put your order at a cent or 2 cents higher than the real-time price. This way, there's usually no confusion. Your order will generally go through. So I put 25.07, 2 cents higher than what the website was telling me. And it's even saying here that it's 25.05, but typically you want to put it a cent or 2 cents higher. So we're going to do 25.07. And it's going to tell you your limit price is higher than the current price, so your order is likely to execute right away. Are you sure you want to continue? And you just want to make sure that you have the right amount in there. 25.07. Let's do another refresh, why not? Okay, it's the same thing, so we're good. And again, from the calculator, 8 shares. So we're going to type 8. That's how many shares I'm going to buy of VEQT today. Estimated cost, you see $200, and then available to trade, $219. So once I put 8, we're ready to go. You'll then come to this screen where it says confirm your purchase. It'll just kind of give you a confirmation that you're going to purchase 8 shares of this ETF at this price, commission $0. We like to see that, obviously, if you're a new investor. So once you're ready to go, you're going to click confirm order. You're going to get this screen, and then boom, order sent. Now, typically you're going to get an email or you're going to get a notification showing that your order went through. So one way is to just go down, you'll see you have 1 pending order. So you're going to want to just look at this screen, maybe have it open for a couple of minutes, and then you're going to see that it'll go through. So you're going to get an email saying that your order has been placed. So you can kind of see this. Look at that. All set to go, your order has been filled. So boom, now we can look here and we now see our $200 order that we placed has now been completed. And you can view the trade confirmation, you can do all that stuff, but you will get a notification, you'll get an email saying that your limit buy has been completed. And then once you get that, you're done. You bought your ETF, you're completely diversified. If that's the first time, then you're now a new investor and you're doing it yourself. You're managing your own investments. So let's pull up the email. You'll get an email like this. Your order has been filled. If it's in your TFSA, you'll see that on average cost, average price, and that's how you know you're good. You know, another thing you can do is kind of see in your portfolio now. I see you got 8 more shares, so I'm currently at 1,378 shares of EQT, and that's how you do it. It's not that complicated. It's also not that simple. But if you're willing to do this, then you're managing your own investments. It's a relatively easy thing to do. And you can do this, let's say, on a monthly basis, maybe even on a yearly basis. You don't have to buy every week, every 2 weeks. You can buy it on a monthly basis, which is what I do. You can buy it on a yearly basis, maybe dedicate a certain amount of your entire yearly income and then buy your ETFs that way. It's really up to you and what you want to do. But yeah, if this is your very first ETF purchase through your account, congratulations, because you just became a DIY investor. You're now managing your own investments, you're buying your own ETFs, you're building your own portfolio. And if you make the habit of doing this month after month, year after year, week after week, your portfolio will grow over time. It'll build and become something great. So again, congratulations if this is your very first ETF purchase. This is a big moment, and obviously, you know, I'm happy. It's a big step, so I appreciate if you did this and you're following it with me along here. It's kind of cool because I feel like we can grow together. Anyone who follows this video or follows a channel, we can grow our portfolios together, and I can document my experience. People can leave their comments down below and we can just kind of grow together. Kind of what I wanted to do with this channel, guys. So, you know, I'm really happy if this was the very first time you did this. You know, this is a very important step that you just made in your financial life. I don't know how else to say it. Again, not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you to go on Wealthsimple Trade and buy this ETF. Make sure you do your own due diligence. You go through those questions. You do what's right for your individual self at this moment. You know, maybe it's not to invest in VEQT. Maybe it's to invest in a balanced portfolio. Make sure that you stick to your actual risk profile. Find the ETF that works well for you, and then you can start purchasing shares on a monthly basis, weekly basis, yearly basis, whatever makes sense for you. All right, guys, so to give you a recap, obviously, you know, if you don't have the Wealthsimple app yet, make sure to use my link below. You'll get $5 for free if you use that link. It also helps support the channel. And yeah, I just want to obviously make the disclaimer, guys, I am not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you to go buy these things. These are just what I typically recommend to people, you know, when they ask me what are good investments. These are what I personally invest in. I think they're effective, most simplest way to invest at an extremely low cost. And you can build up the habit of doing it yourself, and you can start managing your own money. I also obviously want to make sure that you have to do this during market hours, which are between 9:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm currently in Toronto. You have to make sure you buy your ETFs during the market hours. If you're not buying it between those times, Monday to Friday, business days obviously, then you know your orders aren't going to get sent through. They're not going to be placed. They're not going to get confirmed. If you're going to want to make sure that you do that from 9:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday to Friday. My next video for the beginner series is going to be more on diversification. I think I'm going to break down the ETFs more that I buy, that you'll buy, the Vanguard ETFs. Maybe I'll talk a little bit more about iShares if you want to learn about those, so we can break down those funds a little bit more. But that's kind of the next plan for the beginner series, is to do a video on diversification. And again, guys, I just want to say congratulations. This is a big step for you if this is your very first investment that you're purchasing. It may not feel like a big deal, it may not feel that exciting, but trust me, the first step that you take is always generally the hardest, but from here it just gets easier and it gets easier, and you'll see the benefits just compound over time. You'll see your portfolio grow. You'll kind of get used to what it feels like being an investor, being through turbulent market times. Currently it's, you know, in the middle of April. Markets are extremely volatile. They rebounded a lot from, you know, the drops that we saw. But again, still a great time to start investing. Don't time the market, just buy consistently over time, dollar cost average, use 10-20% of your income and buy investments and hold for the long term. So again, guys, congratulations. I'm so happy for you if this was your very first investment. Investing in equities is one of the best things you can really invest in over time. It's the best thing that can help you grow your wealth. You can easily become a millionaire if you invest a decent amount regularly. By easily become a millionaire, I mean like maybe build up to a portfolio of $3, $5, $10 million. And it all depends on how much you invest regularly over time. And that obviously depends on your income from your job and everything like that. So again, it all really ties together. All the things I make on my channel, I want them to kind of make a lot of sense together, because your income determines how much you're going to invest. And then what you invest in is determined by your risk profile and what you can handle. And then there's so many other topics we can go into, guys. If you enjoyed this video, if it helped you out a lot, please hit the like button. It really helps me push the channel to new people who might want to start buying ETFs on their own. It's a big step to take in life, and it can put a lot more money in your pocket over the long run. Happy to be a part of this journey if you're following along. And obviously, if you want to learn more about how to grow your wealth, how to become more financially literate, and to work on your own terms, make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys, because I'm going to be coming out with videos weekly about all these topics. So again, subscribe, like, and that's it, guys. Until the next video, take care.